Cherie, hi, I
Hi,
see you there. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So this is Cherie, hacker everyone. Her art career spans over 30 years as a practicing studio artist, instructor, and curator. Her lively abstract paintings have been featured throughout the US, Canada, and Ireland. And her inspirations include nature, music, and adventures with her family. I like that. And I see some of your family behind you, possibly, or characters that were inspired by your family. Is this accurate?
That is accurate. I've been using my grandchildren as inspiration. So they've become my muse. So anytime that we have adventures, as a grandparent, I'm always taking photos, and so I have a lot of reference material, even though I'm not seeing my grandchildren these days because of COVID. I have a lot of material to work from. So I decided to put figures back into my abstract paintings.
Interesting. So is this new, new for you? Did you start with representational stuff a long time ago and move into abstract, and now you're kind of moving out of it again, or did they pop up from time to time in your work?
That's a really good question, Kate. Uh, when I was a teenager, I loved drawing from album covers and drawing portraits and drawing people that had more of a character type of face versus someone who was beautiful. I really like to capture something a little different in someone. And so I really have always loved doing portraits. And as an artist, we do a million self-portraits because we're the model that's always available. So so that is kind of weaved in and out of my work throughout time, but also early on, early 20s, I was drawn to abstraction and really wanted to go there and do that. And I tried and wasn't always successful. So it's something that I've had to just work through over many years to get to a point where I feel like I'm somewhat accomplished, even though it's always an evolving process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, an evolving process. I think that makes it fun that it's always evolving, right? I don't
Right,
know. Do you enjoy
right.
that, or is that part painful?
No, that it's a good thing because if you were to look at the span of work over years, some people might not be able, it's like, oh, she does this and she does that, and like she does sculpture and she's like all over the place. But if you really look at it, you see that there's imagery and that is repeats itself, that comes back. It's always coming back. There's a dialogue that's always happening. And over the past few years, I've worked a lot with just thinking about the shapes and colors that I see in nature, my experiences of being in the outdoors, and those are kind of like coming through me into my work. And so last year at the Open Studio Tour, I had 3 large pieces done. I had an objective to paint these. I love painting large. So these were 7-foot paintings, and they're called Ain't We Got Fun. If you know an old timey song that says Ain't We Got Fun, I often put a lot of sheet music in my work. So I had used that, and each one was an abstract landscape. So a landscape with a lot of abstract shapes that were coming from the other pieces that I had been doing. So I like to be able to look at work that I've already done, and it feeds me. It
Ooh,
helps me to put imagery into the new work that I'm doing. And so anyway, one of the things that I was really involved in, and I'm involved in right now, is thinking about light and what light is at any certain time of day. So these paintings, which I finished the 4th one this past year, so I had early morning, bright afternoon, the dusk, and then the evening. And they're crazy shapes within it, and I mean they're very lively and just really kind of crazy, very colorful, and very large. And then I have to step back and look at my work for a long time. And one thing about having phones now with the, that we can take pictures all the time, is that I can take pictures of my work. I always take a picture of my work when I'm done in the studio for the day. And then I can look at it when I'm at home and I can think about what I'm doing. It helps me solve problems, just like in my dreams. Sometimes if I'm working on a painting problem, I'll solve it in my dream and I'll wake up and I know what I was supposed to do. I'll take a lot of notes for myself while I'm in process working in the studio. Sometimes at home, I'm like, this is what I need to do when I go back there. And so anyway, I had made these paintings and they're very joyful, and as the title, Ain't We Got Fun. And but then I thought, I've been working so much with the shapes, and landscape is a big part of what I do as well, because I have a separate photo project that I do with my lamp and end table in the environment. But and that involves light as well. But anyway, but I thought there needs to be a little bit more content. And that was why I decided to bring the figures back into the work.
Interesting. Yeah. And so these, since they are such large paintings and they are referencing other paintings that you're doing and things from nature and light, a force of nature there, do you do a lot of planning, or do you do just some planning and while you're painting, you let some of the things just happen as they come? Or do you plan these out where everything's going to go pretty well in advance? I'm kind of curious.
No. I have an idea. So, I think for me, part of being an artist is a lot of the processing that goes on in my brain. So I can be thinking for a long time, for months, about I'm going to do this thing. Like I know what the next 2 paintings are going to be because I've thought about them, and they're going to have figures in, but the female girl is going to be flying, and the male figure, the boy, is going to be contemplating by the water. So, and they're all going to be in the same painting instead of separate. So I have these ideas that are circulating in my head, but I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. And things always change while I'm painting.
Mm-hmm.
You always have, it's real common to have an idea, but then when it comes to doing it, it ends up being completely different than what you were really thinking it was going to be. That's real common. So I have these ideas, and I'll go to the studio, and with it, like I said, photographs. I print out a lot of photographs, so I have photographs all over that I can reference of the people. I don't need them of my abstraction and how I'm thinking, which my other paintings, though, feed me that way, looking at them in person. So I have ideas. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work, and I'll do a quick gesture sketch with charcoal on the canvas or on the panel. I like working on panels a lot, and then I have like my bag of tricks. It's a bag of colors, all these paper swatches that I've been collecting for a lot of years, and they do have sheet music. So different things I pick up, I still pick up things, but so I pull them out and I start looking for color and patterns, and I kind of get my head wrapped around that. What kind of a color scheme am I thinking of using? And lately I've even been pulling out color schemes from decorator magazines and just kind of looking at different palettes and seeing how I feel at the moment about color. And so it starts with the drawing, then some collaging in the background, using some inks. I use a lot of water-based materials in the beginning because ultimately I'll use oils, and I need the oils on top of all of that. So it's a building of this and that, and just like what a lot of the other artists have said, I'll cover up things. I'll be in process, that's not working, I cover it up, or it just needs to keep evolving. So sometimes you have to get rid of some of the precious moments and move on. And with the actual figures and the portraits, I'm trying not to get too involved in the fact that they're actually my grandchildren are my models, because I don't want to get hung up on them looking just like them,
Right.
because that's a whole different mindset. And so and that's a bit of a challenge. It is a bit of a challenge. Um, and you know, and I'm changing things. You know, I might change. I'm using different photos, so a head might be placed in a different direction than the body, and so I'm kind of moving things around. It's not like it's a direct reference.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think that these paintings that I'm doing right now, I call them dreamers. And I think that there's a lot of different ways that you can interpret that. You can interpret it politically because of what's going on with our dreamers. And but also just that, you know, we're in a time that we have so much time to ourselves right now that is very contemplative and hopeful for a bright future and introspective. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of layers in the thinking of the content as well.
So you mentioned, I think once or twice, using sheet music. Are you a musician?
I have been in a band before, which was really fun. My family, I come from a family of musicians. So my brother was a professional percussionist. My dad was a guitar picker in taverns, and I kind of grew up in that, as well as you know, I come from a great family. My mom took me to a lot of performances, and I'm missing concerts. I had a ton of concert tickets that I haven't been able to go to. It's
Oh
such a
no.
bummer. Yeah, I love to hear live music, and you know, that's something that I think sheet music is like it's beautiful, and
Yeah.
especially I try to find, you know, it's vintage music, sheet music that I use. So the yellowed paper, and it takes the ink really well when I cover it, and it's just really beautiful. But then I'm also looking at the text. So at whatever the lyrics are really speaking to me and often become the title of my paintings.
Interesting. Yeah, there's definitely a great influence there. You can tell. And we got fun. The using the sheet music itself. Can you see the sheet music in the final paintings typically, or is it obscured typically?
No, you know, you have, there's all kinds of things hiding in my work that you just have to look for, and it's there. Yeah,
Hiding in plain sight, right? If you
right.
look close enough, you can start seeing it.
Yeah.
Really fascinating. You know, I think. So Cherie, you are going to go live later today and tomorrow, or just tell us your schedule?
I'm gonna be in and out. It's short little spurts. So Carlena Brown, that you had on earlier, is one of my studio mates, and she's streaming. I'm gonna kind of go around the studio and show other people's work as well. So I'm gonna try a couple different things, both Facebook and Instagram.
Both Facebook and Instagram. Okay, can you tell us what your handles are on Instagram and Facebook?
Okay.
So if people want to find you?
Sure. Cherie Hacker Art on Facebook, and just my name, Cherie Hacker, for Instagram.
Great, that makes it easy for us to find
Yeah.
you. Definitely, and thank you, Verge, just put that in the chat if anybody needs it. All right, well, Cherie, thank you so much. I'm just delighted that you're part of Open Studios again this year, and it's
Been
fun to
all the
see your
years.
work. You've been all the years?
Yeah, yeah.
From the very start? Wow, I didn't know that. That's great. And this is the 15th year for anybody who's watching and wondering what is all the years? What does that mean?
And
Yeah.
I'm going to put in a quick plug. You know, nothing's been happening in the art world, receptions and all that really, but I'm in a show at Farrall, the vinyl show. I have a couple of vinyl LPs that my lamp and end table is silk screened into, and also in the Pence Gallery, I've donated a piece for their auction, which is live right now. And I have my own kind of end of summer silent auction on Facebook as well for some very large pieces that I've
So
curated.
that's great. If we want to check out your work and consider purchasing some, we can really find you on Facebook and then Instagram as a backup, it sounds like. And
you
also
can
at
email
Sparrow and
me.
Pence.
Yeah. email me through my website as well, Cherie, hackerartpub.com.
Okay,
It's all
great.
in the guide.
Yeah, it's in the guide and on the artist directory. Cherie, thank you so much for
Thank
being here
you.
today and sharing about your work with us. It was so fun to hear more about it.
Thank you,
Um,
Kate, and thank you, Verge.